Along the Birds of Prey racetrack at Beaver Creek, thousands of spectators watched as superstar Bode Miller set his edges down over the brink and dove down into the Talon turn.
This morning, Bode said he needed to take a really aggressive line through here and be tight on the gates, which is exactly what he's doing. Whoa! Spoke too soon. Miller way in the back seat and almost goes down. What a recovery. He was headed for a date with the fence. It may not always be pretty for Bode Miller, but it's always fast.
In a career that spanned over 4 decades, Colorado native John Dakin became a prominent voice of skiing in the state and around the world. From his early days at the University of Colorado, through a stint with the U.S. ski team, and onwards to the Vail Valley Foundation and finally the Colorado Snowsports Museum. Among the leading ski PR professionals of his time, Dakin stood out for his diversity in telling stories, an event announcer, historian, and a sport leader. At each stop in his career, he made a memorable mark on others for his professionalism, perspective on history, and his calm, friendly demeanor. JD, as he is known to his friends, grew up on the western slope in Grand Junction before moving to Denver. His parents introduced him to skiing, first as a young teen, sliding down the evergreen sledding hill on wooden skis with cable bindings. He later developed his skills at Breckenridge, where the family had a ski cabin. While studying at CU in the early 70s, he met ski director and future Hall of Famer Bill Marolt. After graduating in 1974 with a Russian history degree, he returned 2 years later to study journalism and become the sports information director for the CU ski team, holding that role for 3 of the Buffs' 8 straight NCAA skiing titles. His exemplary work at CU made him a natural to move up to the U.S. ski team, following Coach Marolt to the national team in 1981 as its information director.
We needed a PR person, what we would call here at the university a sports information director, because that's really what he was for the CU team. So the first person that came to my mind was John. So we contacted him. Naturally, he was excited to do it, came to Park City, and was there during one of the golden eras of U.S. skiing. The Mayers, Johnson, Nelson, McKinney, all of those people. So he did a tremendous job promoting them, but they gave us some pretty good material too. So it was a good partnership.
And it was such a blessing to have John. It took all the worry away for us from having to deal with the press, which can be rather ruthless. And John knew how to talk to the press, how to prep the press for speaking to each one of us, or how to put a little bit of a twist on the story.
It was the heyday of the U.S. Alpine ski team with Olympic medalists like Phil Mayer, Bill Johnson, Deb Armstrong, and Cindy Nelson, along with World Cup champions Tamara McKinney and cross-country skier Bill Koch. He found his way into race announcing by chance in 1985, quickly developing his own unique style. With his info-packed race calls and his strong sense of sport production, he called World Cups from Park City to Vail Beaver Creek to Waterville Valley and even in an old gondola car in South Korea.
We always used to make a joke he was huge in Korea because they used to bring him over to Korea to announce World Cup races in English where nobody understood him and couldn't quite figure that out, but he had a big impact and he is by far the best. He's amazing.
His knowledge of sport history and his background on athletes helped him pave his way. His philosophy was simple. Ski racing could be a spectator sport if we made it fun and familiar.
One of the fun things was we always would try to give him we'd bet him he couldn't use a non-skiing word in the call, and we always bet him something. We'd always lose. Like one I remember was aardvark, and he said something along the lines of Herman Myers coming through Roosie's Way like an aardvark being chased by a lion. And we're like, what? But he always would throw something in there along that.
Dakin moved back to Colorado in 1986, working first alongside legendary Vail PR pro Pat Peoples before settling in for a long career with the Vail Valley Foundation, where he played a key role in communications for the 1989, 1999, and 2015 Alpine World Championships. Dakin left his role with Vail Valley Foundation briefly in the early 2000s, serving as the Alpine press chief for the 2002 Olympics, producing Taste of Vail, and serving a wide range of clients before he went back to VVF. Over time, he has shared his knowledge of sport media around the world, from Vail to Killington to Palisades, Tahoe, as well as the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver, and helping to introduce mountain biking at the Atlanta Olympics in 1996.
One of the unique things about John was that he was the first person that I know of to ever be chief of press for 3 World Alpine Ski Championships, and that's a big deal. One of his gifts was that the International Press Corps loved John, and they loved him because he was knowledgeable, first of all, so they respected him. They loved him because he was kind, and he was very flexible in dealing what they needed, and he was funny. Because of that respect he had, he was able to really shape the narrative that was written about our sport in Colorado. And we had so many wonderful stories written over those years about Vail and Beaver Creek and Colorado in general. And it really had a lot to do with who John was and his relationship with that International Press Corps.
As VP of Communications for the VVF, he had to expand his knowledge beyond ski racing, but still be laser focused for December when the World Cup rolled around. To have the knowledge of the athletes and to be able to do a running commentary while announcing a ski race takes a special talent.
His sport knowledge and friendships with national and international press, along with broadcasters, helped bolster the media impact as he told the story of Colorado around the world. Always a knowledgeable historian across his entire career, Dakin joined the staff of the Colorado Snowsports Museum in 2015, playing a key role in a pivotal time for the museum with its $2.5 million renovation and playing out his passion with the design of the interactive competition wall. Widely acclaimed by his peers, Dakin was honored in 2015 with the International Ski Federation's FIST Journalist Award presented to him in Vail during the World Championships.
He has all these skills, but all of them come from the heart. Everything John does is from the heart. John has this mix of being committed to individuals first and then to the purpose and to the process that he's using. And so with him, he brought all this knowledge about ski racing and obviously the commitment to that. And then that really almost instantly gave the foundation gravitas in that sport. You know, when you have John Dakin, who was already with the ski team, he brings that with him. You look and you say, these people really know what they're doing, in so large part to John Dakin.
Today, John Dakin is often called upon to share his knowledge of sport history. He remains in the Vail Valley that he so loves, spending his time now developing a magnificent portfolio of wildlife photography.
Off a red tail and down now through the final few gates to the finish, and Bodie Miller will go into the lead, 3900s ahead of Poisson.
For his accomplishments in telling the story of snow sports in Colorado, we are pleased to welcome John Dakin to the Colorado Snowsports Hall of Fame as an honored member of the class of 2022.